Was good, chat? I got the purple monster, and I will be showing you guys the fastest speedrun to 1k days I think I've had so far. Probably not the fastest, but one of the fastest, and this is just to show you guys what's possible and how ecom really is the same thing. So here we have the store. As you can see, August 6th I started it, and then 7th is my first day of testing, went crazy. 8th is the second day, and then boom, 1k day. So it's really the same fucking thing over and over again. Like, I can show you guys a couple other smaller stores I'm running right now. Like, this is another store today. Oh, what the? Whoops. This is another store today. Another store today. Oh shit. Bet. And then here's another store today as well. So this is the 1k a day store. I'll do a little product reveal just so you guys can see. This is the 1k a day store right here, the automatic ironing machine. Super simple site, guys. It's nothing crazy. You don't need to overcomplicate it. This is how all my stores fucking look. This is the 1k a day product, and I'll be showing you what exactly you need to do and why it's actually so fucking easy to do this over and over again. So don't worry, guys, I'll be showing you the ad account and like the actual store and everything. I'm going to be doing a full case study on this. Like, I'm going to show you guys the product, the site, everything. But let's first talk about how I actually found this product and what led up to it. So let's talk about what day ones actually look like, right? It's not actually testing, it's finding the product. So these two are the product research methods I recommend the most, especially as of now. Ad library is good as well, but the only reason I put the burner method here is because that's actually how I found the product I'm about to show you guys. It's through the burner method. I do think Calidata is probably going to be the best for everyone though. But real quick, let's just go over some pros and cons of each one. Because again, I found this product through the burner method, but I think it's important that you guys understand there are pros and cons to each one. So with Calidata, it's probably going to be the easiest. You're going to find the most validated products, but the cons are it's saturated. So you got to be super quick to do it. But even so, I still think it's the best product research method. Burner method is going to be the hardest, I'd say, even harder than ad library, but you get a lot of untapped products. Like, you can get a lot of untapped products that aren't being ran yet. So the ROI on that is probably like the highest. If you can find like a really sick burner method product that's like untapped, it'll scale really high. And that's honestly how I found one of my biggest stores that I exited. It was through the burner method too as well. So it's good, but if you're a newbie and you're not that good, things you should watch out for are like mid products that get views. Cause you're gonna see a mid product getting a shit ton of views and you're gonna be like, oh wow, it's validated, it's getting hella views, it's untapped, let me run it. But a lot of times it's probably just not a good product in itself, and the views are probably just cause like the hook or just cause there's a good story behind it. It wasn't actually cause of the product. Because a lot of times there'll be like, you know, skits and stuff, and they only get views and likes because of the skit and not because of their product, you know. So you guys have to have a really good product eye if you want to use the burner method. If you don't, here, wait, this looks like ass. Product eye. If you don't, then you're probably not going to have a good time on here, and you're probably going to end up testing a bunch of bullshit. That's why I always recommend Calidata to everyone, just because there's just so much good products on there and it's super easy to validate yourself. You won't really make any mistakes. So Calidata is probably going to be the best, but if you're pretty decent at ecom, you've had reps, give burner method a chance. It has a really shit rep, but in my mind, I think you can find a lot of untapped products if you have a good product eye. And again, if Calidata is a little bit expensive, there's some ecom tools down below that I use where you can get all the ecom tools for like 20 something bucks a month, so go check that out. Next, we have this product criteria. This is from my last video, so I'm not going to really talk too much about it. You guys should know at this point already. But problem solving, having a good market, having validation, cost of goods, make sure you have the 3 to 4x markup, explain itself, be something that's kind of cool, not something that you can just get at a grocery store. And if there's seasonality behind it, especially for Q4 products, Q4 is coming up, be sure to look at that through Google Trends. But this is all the basics, guys. We don't really need to talk about this. Just make sure you're able to analyze all these things. And again, I'm going to show you my product and how it meets this criteria later on, but just make sure you have this in your back pocket always. Okay, more importantly, one thing I actually want to talk about that I haven't talked about before are the steps that come beyond this, right? Kind of more general steps. So that's going to be niches, what niches you should look for, and how to address validation. How do I know if a product is actually validated or not? Is it getting sales? Is that enough? Blah, 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 right? So niches, a lot of people like to look by niche. I do not think niche matters. You'll have people like listing out every fucking niche in the world and be like, yeah, test these niches. Okay, like you just listed out 30 niches. What am I gonna do with that? Rather than listing out niches, I like to talk about niches you should avoid. So a lot of niches you should avoid are fashion. I don't like fashion that much unless it's like a seasonal product, unless it's something super viral. The reason I don't like fashion is because you're gonna have a lot of returns, sizing issues. It's just your net is always gonna be dog shit. Like everyone that runs fashion always has a 10% or less net margin, and that's if they can scale it. So I don't like it for that reason. Another niche, it's not really a niche, but just kind of category of products, electronics. I'm not saying you can't run it, but just be really careful. Again, guys, a lot of gurus will just show you front end revenue, not show you anything behind the scenes, but with electronics, you're going to have a lot of chargebacks if the product quality is shit. So be really careful about product quality and stuff, especially if you're a beginner. You might get lucky with a product that's an electronic. You're just going to ship out the cheapest possible item and just get hit with a bunch of chargebacks and lose all your profit. So be really careful as well with electronics. Not really niche, but sort of a subcategory. Sups, you guys are probably looking at this like, what the fuck? I thought supplements are really good. Subs are honestly the best niche, but this is more so for beginners. If you're gonna run subs, be also really careful as well. Super good niche, right? You have MRR, like subscriptions and stuff, but it's really good. Just as a beginner, you have to be really careful. You want to make sure your product quality is good because of chargebacks and stuff, and you want to be really careful assessing validation with supplements, because supplements, it's a lot harder to validate, right? Because you can't really see the result instantly. Going back to our list, you can't really see the result instantly. It's not really that viral. It's just like a pill or a gummy or whatever. So you have to really like understand how to analyze competitors, validation, and all that stuff. So if you're like a straight beginner, never done ecom, if you find a sub you want to test, just be really careful and pay extra attention to the validation part, because that matters a lot for supplements. Okay, so in terms of validation, there's going to be multiple forms of validation. So let's start with the most obvious one, competitors. These competitors can be any sorts of competitors. They can be TikTok shop sellers, especially if you're using Calo data, right? Calo data in itself is enough validation for you. Next, ad library competitors. So people who are actually running your product, right? You might think, oh, there's competitors, that's bad. But honestly, the best type of competitors that are serving as forms of validation are people that have been running their ads for about 2 to 4 weeks, nothing more. We don't want to look at brands who've been running for 6 months plus, because at that point, like, they have a huge audience pool already. It's going to be hard to break into it. But people who've been running 2 to 4 weeks, that's like the lifespan of their brand, that's good, because obviously if they're running for 2 to 4 weeks, they're not going to just run it unprofitably, but they're not big enough and they haven't been running long enough to pretty much take up most of the TAM and like take up all the angles and avatars and all that stuff. There's room to actually break into it because they're new. So the next thing is views and word of mouth. This especially applies for the burner method. If you guys find a burner method product, the best way I like to validate it outside of like, oh, is it a good problem? Is there a TAM? All that stuff. In terms of the actual validation for it, you can look at the views and stuff, but go on TikTok or wherever you're looking at burner and go search up the product name. If you look up the product name and see actual UGC creators, like actual people talking about it, that's good. That's going to be a good sign that the product is a good product and it's validated. A lot of times you might look up your product and see a bunch of organic dropshippers. I'm sure you guys know what videos I'm talking about. That does not count as validation. That is not validation, guys. Real validation in terms of views and word of mouth are actual people that are talking about your product. So real quick, I know I talked about supplements and being careful in terms of validation. For supplements, this is going to matter a lot, like assessing your competition, as well as actually like looking at the niche itself and seeing what problem it solves and seeing if that problem it solves is being talked about, right? Like for example, Shilajit gummies and stuff. You guys, I'm sure you heard of it. Shilajit, huge 8-figure niche right there. It's huge right now. A lot of people have scaled up in it. If you were hopping on Shilajit, let's say a year ago, right? You would look at comp and you look at Shilajit on TikTok or whatever and see who's talking about it. And you'll see everyone's talking about it. So in that sense, supplements are really good. So I'm kind of rambling a bit, but I just want to really emphasize because I've had a lot of people ask me about subs and stuff. So if you're going to look at subs, just please make sure to do both of these validations if you're going to try and run a supplement. Okay, so once you actually find your product, the first thing you're obviously going to do is make your website. And I'm not affiliated with a Shrine or anything, but this is going to be the best theme to use. It's the easiest theme. It has the fastest loading times. It's honestly outperformed a lot of like actual custom landing pages I've made. So super easy, just plug and play. And everything on your website is going to be ripped. So you're just going to steal from competitors. And I'll explain this in a sec. And you can use any websites to do this. this is a website I use. It's extract.pics. You just put the competitor's link in there, and it'll get all their pictures. And the reason I do this is because everything is about speed. Especially if you're doing stuff like calo data where it's super saturated, everything's about speed, right? And what I like to do is I like to just rip all the photos, and I like to just use ChatGPT for all the copy and stuff. And the reason for that is because I want to be quick. And the second I get a validation that, hey, this product's actually scaling, you know, it's doing 1K days, that's when I go completely custom, remake the product pictures from scratch and all that stuff. I'm going to talk a little bit more about that in a second, but let me just go down the list. So this is my website. This is the store that did the 1K day in 3 days. As you can see, it's really nothing crazy. All this was written by ChatGPT. So I have some AI pictures here and there because I ran out, but I'll talk more about that in a sec. But all of these product pictures, everything here is ripped. So the way I do this is I just go to ad library and look up my product, and then I'll just look for a competitor, and boom, I have this competitor right here. And all I do is take it, put the link in this, and just give it a second to load. And boom, there you go. You have all these pictures to use, and I just take all of it and put it on my site. As you can see, guys, the site doesn't have to be anything crazy. Again, I've talked about this in so many other videos, but all that matters is just this upper fold right here with your product pictures, your USPs, your bullet points, and your offer. That's all that matters. All this stuff, you can just like ChatGPT copy and paste. Like, don't waste too much time. And for all the copy as well, like all this text here, all I really do is just I find my competitor, and I just take this, put it into GPT, and have it reworded. So the whole point is just to do everything as super quick as possible. So literally rip the product pictures and take the copy, rip the copy pretty much, and just reword it using ChatGPT. That's all you need to do. As long as you do this and you have a good offer, like, you'll scale. And you can see I literally hit a 1K day in 3 days, and this is how I do all my tests. My 1.8 million in 30 day store, this is literally how I did it. I had a shrine theme, ripped product photos, I just copy pasted the copy and had ChatGPT reword it, and then after I got the validation, that's when I started optimizing everything. So what I mean is, after you start hitting 1K days and stuff, or you see that your product is for sure a winning product, which is usually around this mark right here, that's when you really dial in and make your product and your website, product pictures, everything super nice. So when you hit this point, you want to have really optimized product photos. You want to have a funnel on your website itself. If you don't understand what that means, give me a sec. So basically, if all your images are ripped and everything is stolen, you might get DMCA'd, you might get a DMCA warrant stuff. But when it's validated, that's when you want to go and actually make custom pictures using Canva, ChatGPT, edit photos so that they're your own. And obviously, you can always improve on your previous photos as well. So you want to make sure it's optimized in every single way as possible, as well as being unique in itself. As well as having a funnel on your website, right? So what that means is, initially, when I made this website, I honestly didn't have any of these sections. Like, I maybe just had, like, yeah, literally, not even this. I literally just had, like, this. So, like, a little testimonial slider, image with text, how to use, reviews, that's it. That's all I had. But, you know, when you're testing, you're not going to have that much traffic. During the testing phase, you might get, like, 100 sessions a day, right? You're going to get 100 people visiting your site a day. Of that 100 people, the majority are just going to look at this hero section, and they're not going to look down here that much. So, you know, you don't need to have anything crazy optimized like down here, right? But when you're scaling, at that point, you're going to have like 1K plus sessions a day, right? So with that 1K, even though there's not many people scrolling down here, right? It's still going to be a decent amount because you're getting so many sessions. Even let's say you have 10% of the people that actually scroll down and read your entire website, right? If that's the case, 10% of this is 10 people. 10% of this is 100 people. So when you're scaling, you want to make sure that everything on your site is pretty much optimized. So that's why I said, like, when you initially start, you don't need to do all this because you're going to waste time. If you waste time, you might miss out on a product because someone is quicker than you. So that's why I say when you're testing, it's really important just to rip product pictures, rip the copy, and be fast as possible. I'm not saying to make it a shit website, but as long as you have like half decent product photos, even if they're ripped, it doesn't matter. If you have good product photos, a good offer, and just a few sections beneath this hero, you'll be good. You'll be good to go. Okay, so a huge objection I'm probably going to get is like, oh, why are you telling me to rip? I'm going to get DMCA'd. First off, you're a newbie, and when I even start a brand new store, I'm a newbie. Nobody knows who you are. Your brand is so fucking new. This whole rip shit, All of this is literally just for like 3 to 4 days. After that, your product should be validated or you should have cut it already. So in those 3 to 4 days, nobody's gonna hunt you down. And second of all, everyone fucking rips. Nobody is not ripping. If you think that just because some guru tells you like, yeah, you have to go in Canva and ChatGPT every product photo, they're just trying to make it seem like it's harder than it is so you buy their course. It's really not that hard. Every store I've started has had rip photos. It's all about being quick, and the second you get the validation within that 3 to 4 days, because that's how long you test for, then you go and make it nice, make it unique, and make it all yours. It's all about speed, guys. If you don't believe me, then go listen to AC Hampton. Next, the ads, right? So obviously, the majority is also going to be ripped. So you can either do Calodata UGC, so you can go look up your product on Calodata and take the UGC, or you can just go on TikTok organic and just look for ads with views. And one caveat to this is you want to make sure the views are good engagement. If you guys don't understand, what I mean is that there's good and there's bad engagement. Bad engagement is there are views because, again, like I said earlier, it's a skit, it's funny, it's relatable, like it's not actually about the product. They're liking it for other reasons that aren't the product. Good engagement is, oh, a bunch of likes, the comments are like, where do I buy this? This is so cool. Where has this been all my life? That's good engagement. So you want to make sure it has good engagement. Those are the two ways you can really rip videos. Okay, so for voiceover ads, I'm going to go over it super briefly. You can use ChatGPT or Claude. If you're going to do a lot of manual writing and like just use AI as a framework, I would just use ChatGPT. That's what I do. I like to go and edit my scripts manually. But if you want to rely on AI a little bit more, you should use Claude. And what I do is I usually get about 6 to 8 avatars with unique angles, and I make voiceover ads for them. So I go to ChatGPT and I say, I am doing research on an automatic ironing machine. Here is my number one competitor, and then I link my number one competitor. And as a bonus, again, I don't want to go too into detail about this, but as a bonus, you can like put in their SimilarWeb metrics. You can screenshot the demographics using SimilarWeb. If we go here, give it a second. Go to demographics. You can screenshot this and show it, but sometimes it won't have enough data. So if that's the case, that's fine. Okay, so for the actual ChatGPT part of it, I basically just say, hey, I'm doing research on this automatic ironing machine. Here's my number one competitor. Then I ask it to find 20 public Reddit posts. It finds the Reddit posts, and then I tell it to analyze the URLs from those Reddit posts and tell me their patterns, their deep thoughts, and all that stuff. And it does that deep analysis. And then once it does that, I basically go to this tool called Prompt Cowboy, which gives you really optimized ChatGPT prompts. And then I tell it, hey, I want to do deep research on this automatic ironing machine, and I want it to consider all the product avatars, what desires they have, the awareness stages, and all that stuff. And I say, I'm going to be using this for Facebook ad copy. It'll give me a really thoroughly built out deep research prompt. So I'll put this in and I'll make sure I press deep research. And then for time's sake, I don't really do this because I just remade this for the video. So it'll take like 10 minutes, but let's say I did it. It'll give you all these avatars. And once you have all these avatars, you can read through it, decide which one you like. And then from there, I'll go to Prompt Cowboy and I'll basically just say, hey, make me a script based on the avatar. And I usually have it write me 3 hook variations. And I'll get this little prompt, put it in ChatGPT, pick which avatar I want. And I guess it chose this one. And then it just gives me the full script with 3 hooks and the ad body. And then I'll go from here and manually edit it. And I'll repeat this process for about 6 to 8 avatars. And I only really do this if the ripped content isn't really that good. If the ripped content is good, I'll just go ahead and just stick with this. But if the ripped content's kind of mid, there's not that much, and I really believe in the product, then I'll go ahead and make some of these voiceover ads using this ChatGPT and Claude method. Again, this is super brief. You're going to want to do a lot of manual edits to the script. You don't want to just completely rely on AI. But this is kind of a basic rundown on how you get a voiceover ad started in terms of the scripting side of things. So in terms of the ad account side of things, you're going to have CBO, right? You're not going to do ABO. You're not going to do any of that bullshit. You're going to have a manual CBO, and you're going to do this in USA only. I've talked about this a bunch. And then there, you're going to have your 6 to 12 ads. 6 to 12 is a pretty large number, but 6 is the bare minimum. Just because you want at least 6 proper ads that you're confident in at the bare minimum. Ideally, you want, maybe 10 to 12, but this range is fine. And then for your primary text and headline, primary text doesn't really matter. Just use some ChatGPT bullshit. Does not matter that much when you're testing. Headline, this one can matter just because it's right next to the shop now button. So just put your offer there. That's usually what I recommend. And super simple, guys. You don't need to overcomplicate it. You're going to let this run for about 3 days. And Of course, with the metrics and stuff, I'll talk a little bit more about this, but refer to my last video if you want actual insight on how to look at your metrics and stuff. But 3 days is usually what I let it run for. So in those, first 1 to 3 days, all you're really doing is just letting it optimize your audience. You're not really looking for profit. And again, guys, I'm not going to talk too much about this. You can go watch my last video if you want to learn more about metrics and stuff. But there is a good caveat I need to mention. So when your audience is optimizing, you're either going to get cheaper traffic or you're going to get still expensive traffic. So cheaper traffic usually looks like, dollar CPC, good CTR, that type of stuff. Expensive traffic, you might have $2 to $3 CPC, low CTR. So my last video, I told you guys that cheaper traffic is going to be the best, and that's true. That still holds true. This is like winning product kind of metrics. But expensive traffic, you might think, oh yeah, this is shit, I'm going to cut it, blah, blah, blah. Like in your last video, you said if your traffic is expensive, watch out. But there's a caveat. Expensive traffic can also be pretty good, and that's what I noticed with my product. So remember, guys, I started this August 6th. August 7th was my first day. August 8th was my second day. And the 1K day was, honestly 2K day, was August 9th. So if you go to the actual ad account here, just to show you guys, August 6th, we didn't spend much. There's literally nothing to spend. August 7th, we spent $206. And you can see, right? CPM dog shit, CPC dog shit, CTR dog shit. But I still had $400 in sales at 2 ROAS. Let's go to August 8th. August 8th, CPM went down, CPC, CTR still shit. ROAS, $300 in sales. How much I spend? $200 spent, kind of shit. August 9th, CPM went back up, CPC, CTR is shit. 170 spent, but this one's kind of crazy, I ain't gonna lie. 2K day. That's like fucking 10, not even, bro. I think it's like, yeah, it's like a 10 ROAS. So when you guys look at the data, right, you're going to think, oh yeah, the CPC is so expensive, the CTR is so low, like I want good traffic, I want cheaper traffic, I'm going to cut the product. But if you actually look at my add to carts every single day, right, 8th, like 14 add to carts, 6 reach checkout, like the 9th right here, 21 add to carts, 16 reach checkout, like you guys have to consider, even though I'm getting $2 to $3 CPCs, there's a lot of buying intent. Think about it. 10% of people reach checkout. Like with my AOV, like bro, that literally could have been like a 3K day, 4K day, right? So even though your traffic is expensive, right, you can still let the audience optimize. And optimization doesn't necessarily mean cheaper traffic. Optimization can mean even though the CPCs are expensive, the audience becomes super narrowed down, right? Usually when you think of optimization, you think, okay, like it's testing audience A, but when it starts testing audience B, that audience is going to be super interested, my CPC is going to go down, my CTR is going to go up, all that stuff. That's not always the case. That's usually a case in a lot of the situations, but in this situation, the CPC stayed the same, but the audience just became super narrowed down. That's why, like, on that 1K day, you can see my conversion rate was pretty high, and that's because the audience is super narrowed down. So one thing you need to consider, guys, is if your traffic is expensive, make sure you have a high add to cart, and make sure your CVR is also high. You don't always need cheap traffic, guys. These can both be the same, but it's just all based on reading the metrics. You should go watch my last video if you don't understand what I'm talking about right here. Okay, so lastly, I'm just going to go through this super briefly. After your first 1K day, like I said, in the product picture section, you want to optimize your website, double down. So make sure you have your funnel. Make sure you have good product pics. So make sure, they're visual, they're custom, all that stuff. Pre-landers, I even tested one. You should always start with the listicle. Let me pull up the pre-lander that I made for mine. So this is honestly a pre-lander I made for my store. Always test that out. The second I hit that 1K day, I made this listicle. More ads, obviously, guys. So you want to have more ads coming into your ad account. Ideally, you want UGC and stuff. You can rip it. You can get it from Influy. You can actually get your own UGC as well. You don't always have to rip. Start testing more voiceovers using that ChatGPT structure that I mentioned. Upsells, again, in cart. Post-purchase upsells. And this is all just to drive your AOV up. And I'm breezing through this, guys, because I talked about it in my last video. I don't like to just repeat information in every video. And then emails as well. You can use Klaviyo and stuff. Just start collecting emails and offering discounts and stuff. And this email list should give you 10% extra bottom line revenue. This is kind of an example of what an email flow would look like. You can pay an agency to get it set up, or you can just do a basic one yourself. But it's really important because emails usually give you a good bottom line revenue because you're having people that haven't bought basically get bombarded with a bunch of sales emails. So usually you'll have about 10% minimum attribution. This should be honestly like 20% if anything, but 10% is the minimum. 20% is usually the average. So like, let's say you're doing like 300k months, right? Literally from this, you're gonna have like at least 60k coming from emails, campaigns and stuff, which is all basically pure profit because there's no ad spend in it. It's all old customers. So emails is super good. But this is kind of what happens after your first 1k day. Go watch my last video if you want to learn more about this. I literally yap about this for an hour. So go watch my last video if you want to learn more about this stuff. But honestly guys, that's pretty much it. It's really nothing crazy guys. Like 3 days is all it fucking took to hit it's not even a 1k day, honestly. I should make the title 2k day. This is literally a 2k day, day 3. So I showed you guys the ad account, showed you guys the ROAS, I showed you guys how to find products, showed you how to speedrun your site, showed you how to do your ads, showed you how to do voiceover ads, what your ad account should look like. Pretty much everything you really need to do a 1k day. It's not that hard guys. Go fucking work. Super brief video. Again guys, if you want more sauce what to do after 1k day, go watch my last video. Honestly, I was hesitant making this video just because like 1k days are so fucking easy to get. It's really nothing crazy. It's just product research, website, ripping ads. But a lot of you guys seem to overcomplicate it, I'm not gonna lie. And I think that's what's wrong with a lot of gurus. They'll make it super complicated so they think you have a huge learning curve that you need to buy their course to do it. But it's really just the same formula in and out. So if you guys found value in this video, be sure to just check out my other videos. There's a lot of sauce being dropped. Again, I do have a one-on-one mentorship down below if you guys want to check that out. I'm not a guru, bro. I just have a lot of free time with all my stores. If you guys want to check it out, you can. If not, get to work. 3 days, 2k day. What's your excuse? Peace out.